Hey everybody, it's Jane. How are you doing? Hopefully you know me now from Chalk Mercantile and Surface Anthology. I am really excited to show you guys today how to use, look at that, the new Iron Orchid paint inlays. So that's gonna be the little tutorial today, but before I do that, couple of announcements. The Surface Anthology membership is open and I want to welcome the new members that have just joined me. I'm super excited to start 2022 with you guys. If you're interested in kind of diving deeper into furniture paint finishes, just go over to surfaceanthology.com and click on the membership. The other thing is the Painted Cottage group. We are getting ready for our next group workshop. So if you're interested in that, join our The Painted Cottage Facebook group. And it should be a lot of fun. And then thirdly, because I had a customer ask me today, she wants to mess around a little bit with the Iron Orchid Seashells mold. And I use, as you can see, I use this a lot, and she wanted to know the measurements of the shells. So I'm just gonna give you like the starfish and a couple of other ones, the seahorse, so you could get an idea. So quickly, before we do our Iron Orchid paint inlay, the seahorse is about 4 1/4 inches high, so 4 1/4 inches, and I would say about 1 inch wide. I always forget the name of this shell, but I'll measure that shell next, and that is 2 1/4 inches high, and it is 2 1/2 inches at its widest point. And then for this starfish, it's about 3 3/4 long by almost 3 1/2 inches wide. So that is that. And then the little ones, you can see that little shell on the bottom is almost 2 inches long by 1 inch wide. And we'll go over here. This little starfish is close to 2 inches by 2 inches. So that'll give you an idea. This mold, you guys, I use it over and over and over again. I just love it. So, so there's your measurements. And I think the whole thing is, it's like 6 by 9, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, or maybe 6 by 10. Oh, I'm really, this is, I need a full-size ruler for this. But there it is. All right. Any questions about the mold? Just let me know, you guys. Now, getting on to the Iron Orchid paint inlays. So today I'm going to be using, oh, and I should actually show you. I, as a mother of 3 sons, I am now, I'm used to kind of keeping, I don't do a lot of feminine things around my house and, ultra feminine. And I just love this one. This is the Chintz paint inlay. And I'm using these to organize a lot of my things. I'm using, like, this is the IKEA, what is this called? Oh, these names. The Knuff, Knuff magazine holder and book holder. And I love my magazines. So they come in the naked wood, and I painted them with 1 coat of white true chalk paint. I'll talk about that in a second. And then I'm gonna put the paint inlay. This is the side that's exposed on my shelf. So I'm gonna have the pretty Rose Chintz, I think it's called, inlay on there. And this is one I have in process. So you could see there's that little hole, and here it is. So The first thing you have to know about the paint inlays, this is a completely original new product. Nobody else is making anything like this. And there is a learning curve. Ooh, I've got wet paint. I've been painting today. There is a learning curve for this product. So, and there's lots of videos. This can be added to your education on it. But if you think about all the different types of paints that these can be used with, there's a lot of them. So what I always advise when you're trying something new is that you do a test. So grab like a little piece of wood, make believe this is a piece of wood, and then put down a coat of the paint you're going to be using with your inlay and let it dry, and then another really wet coat, and I'm going to show you that in a second, of the paint you're going to be using in your inlay, okay, with your inlay, and then test your inlay on that to see how it reacts with your paint. And I've done that already. Actually, I'm going to go grab something to show you guys. Okay, I'm back. So this is, look at how pretty that is. I forgot the name of it. It's the raw wood IKEA. It's like a little cabinet, a miniature cabinet with all these different drawers. So I use the Amy Howard at Home One Step paint, which is a chalk-based paint, but it has a top coat built in it, so you don't need to finish it. So it looks really beautiful. That's how it came out, right? With all the kind of chippy goodness that I love. I haven't finished this yet. That's going to be another tutorial either tomorrow or Friday to show you guys how I'm going to approach finishing, because I do want to finish it, and you do need to finish the inlays. So anyway, this is like the whole scheme for my all my storage stuff, my organizational stuff. So when you get the inlay, what you're going to notice is that there's a little kind of margin around it, and you should cut that off. Don't be like me, and I'm going to show you what I did. I didn't cut it off because I was so excited to use these paint inlays, and you really need to see the edge of your design when you're lining it up. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me see. So here's my project. I'm going to cut that off, but I'm going to use this side because there's a right side and a wrong side. This is the wrong side. This is the right side. So I'm going to cut off my margin. Right up against the edge of the design. A rotary cutter, and I have a bunch of them, would be really good for this, with a large, a really long ruler. Okay, get rid of the rest of that. So now, before I do anything else, I'm going to cut out the size of the inlay. Hey, Tammy. Tammy, now I can see your name. Tammy's joining me. I love Tammy. She's the best. Tammy, when I go live on my page, I can see your name. When I go live in a group, I can't see anybody's name. Well, Tammy, these are the new paint inlays I was telling you about. I'm really excited to show you guys how to use it. So now what we have to do, my one coat of the chalk-based paint is dry. And what I'm going to do is line up my design on here. And what I'm doing is I'm just using my finger. You see how I'm creasing right at the edge of this magazine holder. And that is where I'm gonna cut this out. Just like that. Grab those scissors and then cut this out. Don't throw away any scraps, you guys, because they can all be used on different projects for sure. Okay, right up to the top here. All right, put this aside. Now, before I go on with the next step, you can't mess with me. Tammy, you can always mess with me. I swear. Tammy is my buddy. I'm in Connecticut. She's out in Illinois, and she owns Flippin' Furniture. And she is one of the other decorative painters in the Painted Cottage. And she is a blast. Super talented. And she always makes me laugh. And if you know me, I love to laugh for sure. So Tammy, mess with me all you want as long as we're laughing, right? So let me talk to you for a second, guys, about what paint I'm using here. So remember, the first one I did was with Amy Howard at home one-step paint that has a built-in sealer. You don't need to finish this. So it absorbs things differently than like a chalk paint that doesn't have a top coat in it. So the one I'm using for this, and this is the first time I'm using it, is a pure chalk paint, no built-in top coat, and that's what I'm going to use for this one. And I'm assuming there's going to be a difference because of the way the two absorb the paint inlay differently. So I'm looking at Tammy. Oh my goodness, we have so much fun. So what I need to do now is put on a nice, generous coat of my white chalk paint. So I'm just gonna squeeze some out. I'm working with a damp brush like I always do. Oh, Tammy just called me a talented hoot. I'm gonna tell my husband that. He'll love that. I have a friend in Connecticut who's from Iowa, and she used to have hootenannies. And I love those kind of phrases. All right, here we go, you guys. Oops, we're gonna put on a nice, generous coat. No thin coats for this, because we need some paint for it to go into. And you wanna do this pretty quickly, because you don't want it to start to dry out. And if you're doing a big piece of furniture, you could actually do it in sections, and as you're laying the inlay down, you could kind of go underneath and apply more paint if it's not staying wet for you. I'm gonna go right over that little hole there, and then I'll just kind of poke it out. Actually, now I don't even need to do that. The inlay will just pull right up. All right, so there's a nice coat of paint. I don't want any beads down the side or on the top. Actually, and make sure you really look. And then what you do, put your brush in some water, take your inlay, lay it down, and then just smooth it onto that painted surface. All right, and there's not a lot of, and I tried this, so I know, I tried to shift and it didn't work. I kind of blurred the design. So you gotta commit and just do that. Just press it down and then take a little bit of water. And I'm using my Mister bottle, and I'm just gonna spray just a little bit of water on here. Look how you could see the design. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I'm just going to blot it a little bit. And then this, I left my other one for an hour. You want to leave it until your design is completely dry. All right, I just want to get that edge there. But you want to leave this to dry and for the two to bond. Okay, so let's move that aside. And now the moment of truth, we'll see this one that I did over an hour ago now. It feels dry, and we'll see if this worked. Oh, and by the way, you see right up there, that nice margin? That's where I didn't cut the margin off, and that's why you want to do that. And let me show you that again. See it right down there? That needs to come off because it could throw your design. What I am going to do with this though later is I'm just going to take one of my scraps, and I have a lot now, and I can even match it up to this design and put it on there because that's going to make me bananas. All right. So now to remove the design, you've got to wet it. And then you need to let this sit for about 30 seconds. And I'm just going to press it in again with my rag here. And patience is the key, and I don't have a lot of patience. I'm somebody who's like, that's why I saw it smear. I was lifting, and I'm like, oh, can I move this? Once it's down, you are committed. All right. Has it been 30 seconds? I would say so. Let's see. Yep. So now, what you want to do is when you're pulling this off, now I'm a lefty, you don't want to just, so I'm going to start from the left side and kind of pull it down diagonally, but you don't want to lift it. You don't want to lift it up. You kind of want to pull this down. See how I'm doing it at a flatter angle. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that gorgeous? And there it is. Beautiful. So I'm going to show you the two sides, the two styles of paint, and I'm going to show you the difference. The other thing is, though, and this is really important, do not throw away that inlay. This can be used again. There's still paint on there. So you want to put it aside, let it dry flat, the right side up so that you don't, waste any of the paint that's left there. But then you get this really beautiful faded fabric look. So I'm going to move that over to the side and let that dry. Now, let's compare the two. And what I'm seeing immediately is there is a better bond with the inlay and the chalk paint that does not have a built-in top coat. And it may be that I needed to leave this on longer, apply it maybe with more paint, which I kind of put on a lot of paint. It's still really beautiful. It just looks more faded and more chippy. I still really love it, and I love this color under the inlay. But I think for me, this is the effect that I want for the rest of these magazine holders, this really kind of clear, vivid look. So that's the difference between the two styles of paint, and this is why you really do need to run a test with the paint that you use. People are using latex, wall paints, and it looks great. They're using, I haven't seen anything with milk paint yet, but I've seen it with Fusion, with Annie Sloan, Debbie, the DIY paint. I've seen it with all different paint lines, and they all react slightly differently, but once you learn how the paint inlay reacts with your particular paint line, it's going to be gorgeous nonetheless. So look at how beautiful that is. This does need to be waxed. That I will do in my next live. If you haven't joined my text group, because that's where I'm really trying to get good about announcing when I'm gonna go live. Oh, thanks, Tammy. Tammy, aren't these beautiful? Oh my God. And Tammy loves neutrals. She loves really beautiful earth tones, neutrals, sages, more complex colors. There is it's called Grisey, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And for those of you that love all those kind of beautiful neutrals, it's like a toile. It's absolutely gorgeous. So Tammy, that's up your alley. What I was going to say for everybody is join my text group, my text club. It's 860-385-6369. 860-385-6369. And then I will text, I'll send out a text when I'm going to go live. In my next live, I will be finishing, maybe doing a little bit of distressing and finishing these with wax, and I might even try a matte sealer to see how that reacts. So that's it, you guys. Go to surfaceanthology.com for my membership. Go to the Painted Cottage Facebook group to be a part of our group workshop that's coming up soon. Yes, Tammy, there is a toile, and it's really, really beautiful. If you guys want to check out the, yes, my shop is at chalkmercantile.com, and you just click on shop and go to Iron Orchid, and you'll see all the designs. But Tammy, the toile it's just beautiful, and it's in these very kind of earthy neutrals. So it looks really nice on white. It looks really beautiful on deep dark colors and brights too. So maybe I'll use that one down the road. All right, you guys, good to see you. Tammy, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody have a great day and happy painting. Any questions, ask in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.